This is going to be upsetting. As a matter of fact, it makes my blood boil. I can't believe that we have been fooled this long, gaslit this many times, and just completely taken advantage of. So Joe Biden, we're going to watch this speech, and I think this is perhaps one of the most nefarious speeches ever made by a politician. And there's going to be a story here. The lie, the story that was told is what got him elected in the 2020 election, besides the fact that there was cheating that went on. And I can prove that. Okay, so let's get back to the topic. This is just awful, just so awful. So the Democrats basically took one of our emergent time periods, like one of the most important time periods in the history of this country for our evolvement in respecting human beings, not based on race. During the time that Martin Luther King was fighting for civil rights for all people throughout the country, right? Well, they took that and they falsely tried to reproduce the circumstances that we were under at the time just to create some turmoil so they could keep a grip on their power. So it was all done. We were fooled, hoodwinked, gaslit, fooled into being afraid so that we could trust that, oh, they're going to get us through this horrible time period, just like it was in the 60s. Okay, so I'm going to show you this clip. We're going to show this clip of Joe Biden in 2018. And you saw a part of the clip in the last video, which was absurd. You wouldn't even think that what he was talking about in that last video that we were laughing at was even a part of the same speech, but it was, and that proves how crazy he is. But this is where he's going to put the lie out there. So we're going to watch that and then come back and show you yet another clip, and I'm going to prove to you that all of this was scripted and planned. America, you have been fooled. You have been gaslit like no other. All right, let's check it out. Cut to the clip.
I could not remain silent after Charlottesville. No, I want to be deadly earnest with you about this. That's why I wrote an article for Atlantic Magazine entitled "The Battle for America's Soul," because that I don't clap, or you can boo if you want, but don't clap. But I'm serious. I'm serious. This is about basic decency. The idea that goons could come out of fields at night with lighted torches, carrying Nazi flags, chanting the same exact anti-Semitic bile that was chanted in the streets of Nuremberg and Berlin and every other German city in the 30s. No, but look, get serious, guys. So hush up. This is deadly earnest. We are in a fight for America's soul. And we have leaders who at the time when that occurred, when these guys were accompanied by white supremacists and Ku Klux Klan and those who objected, making a comparison saying they're good people in both groups. What has become of us? Our children are listening, and our silence is complicity. So I don't have to ever now say, I have confidence, because as we stand up in the face of this onslaught, the vast majority of the American people are with us. It's the story of supporting many brave Americans who came out and spoke up, from the earliest activities of the trailblazers like Marsha P. Johnson, who stood in the...
Oh, man. Now, did you notice how he gaslit the crowd? Did you notice that? How he was being melodramatic. You know, he's building up to something, but he's kind of hinting that he's trying to be ridiculous and entertain you and kind of make you laugh or get you whooped up. And then he turns around and tells you, hush up, this is serious. He led you down this path, and then he smacks him in the head with a wooden spoon and tells him to be serious. I thought that was awful. And it's in line with the manipulation tactics that these people use. So here he puts this out here, And then we find out that not only was he lying, it was all orchestrated. In fact, let's just jump over to my article here. Whoops. There we go. Okay, there I am. I got to pull this up on the window. One moment, please, while I pull up Breitbart. There it is. Okay, so here's the story on Breitbart today where Trump is saying that the 2020 election should be wiped from the books if SPLC is convicted of fraud. I don't blame him because everything about that 2020 election was false. Gaslighting, people were hoodwinked, led astray, bamboozled. All right? Everything about that whole election was based on a lie. So we had Charlottesville happen, and then they used that to get Biden elected in 2020. And then we find out that it was the SPLC that was paying people, okay, to show up, paying the extremist organization groups that wear the white hoods, those type of people, millions of dollars to create a situation that they could then come in and be the hero. You know, that's bad enough in and of itself, what SPLC had done over, say, a 10 or 15-year time period of creating false situations by paying the enemy, by paying the people that they put on the hate group list that they controlled, you know, that whole thing. Yeah. Paying those same people to start trouble so then they could swoop in and act like they're the heroes of the situation, defending the lowly black folks who's just victimized from the Ku Klux Klan. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's bad enough. They all should be sitting in jail rotting, okay, for doing that. But wait, there's more. It's worse. I think they colluded with the Democratic Party, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were chosen to be the actors to play a role based upon what they did in setting up this whole situation and use that theme in order to get the Democrats back in power in the White House. And lo and behold, it worked. Just terrible. Just terrible. So I think we're probably going to find out that Act Blue is going to get caught up into some of the money that was going back and forth, that part of the wire fraud charges are going to be coming up against SPLC. We're going to find out that Act Blue and also USAID are going to be involved in this. I guarantee you that. So some of this stuff came up where they found out that the SPLC was paying these groups, the Ku Klux Klan, the American, we'll call it the American Nazi Party, the National Socialist Movement, and the United Klans of America and Unite the Right. They were paying these people, all right? And then during the time that Biden was in office, I guess some banks had reported the SPLC for funneling money to those groups, and they ignored it. They did nothing about it. Isn't that disgusting? Totally disgusting. They swept it under the rug. Why? Well, it's because they were connected to it. Whoa. They didn't want that coming out to the public and being put out on Front Street because they set the whole thing up. There's no way the DOJ would have been able to even go after those people. So this article goes on to talk about the money, $70,000 here to a hooded member, another $1 million to someone to go and steal 25 boxes of documents from the neo-Nazi group called the National Alliance. Here's one. Look at this. The leader of the 2017 Unite the Right protest in Charlottesville had received more than $270,000 over 8 years from a shell organization controlled by the SPLC. Boom. This is just crazy. This is absolutely crazy. You need to go to Breitbart. You can read the rest of this. If I remember, I'll stick the link in it. But let's check out this other clip. Now, in the video that I did about Kamala, I showed you how she was using the same script in her speeches that what she used when she debated Trump during the election. Well, Biden was doing the same thing. Let's check out this other clip of Biden telling that same lie using the story about Charlottesville. Cut to the clip.
Mr. Vice President, are you aware that you're misquoting Donald Trump in Charlottesville? He never called neo-Nazis very fine people.
No, he called all those folks that walked out of that, they were neo-Nazis, shouting hate, their veins bulging.
But he said specifically that he was condemning them.
He did not. He said he walked out and he said, let's get this straight. He said there were very fine people in both groups. They're chanting anti-Semitic slogans, carrying flags.
But you're aware that he...
Mr. Vice President, her question's easy.
Boom. There it is right there. I mean, it's ridiculous. So they repeated this story time after time after time until it was just pounded into the heads of people all across the country, and we fell for it. We believed it. And then we find out it's their ally, the SPLC, that set the whole thing up in the first place. You talk about the old phrase, there's a sucker born every minute. We were all suckers.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I mean, do you get the gravity of this? Like all of the racist activity and the heinousness that has happened in the last 10 or 15 years is similar to what we saw with Jussie Smollett. Juicy Smollett. You remember what Juicy did? Yeah, he paid the two black African guys to put on white outfits with cone heads and to fake trying to harass him and putting a noose around his neck. And then he hollered about it to the news and said, look at me. I'm the victim of a hate crime. Sympathize with me. Feel sorry for me. And it turns out it was two paid actors. How much of everything that has gone on in the last 10 or 15 years is from paid actors? How much of this was real? How much was it fake? I want to know right now. I just hope that let's just get it over with and let's find out. Let's unravel all of the mysteries and let's expose it all right now. Everything about that election, everything about the 4 years that Kamala and Poopy Pants Joe Biden, the 4 years that they were in office, I want to know how much of that was fake and manufactured. This is just terrible. So I want to know what your thoughts are. Do you get the gravity of this? Do you understand? Maybe it's just me, but I think this is one of the most disgusting and heinous acts ever committed in the history of this country. That's what I think. But what do you think? Post it in the comments below. And will you ever trust a Democrat again? I'm going to have another video because there's so much more of this that we have to talk about. So much more. But anyway, until then, this is Carlton and I am out.